I'm going to share with you today the strongest and most powerful elements in persuasion that allows you to sell more and better stuff, but with integrity. You're going to feel good about it. They're going to feel good about it. Everybody's going to feel good. And you're going to do this by increasing the belief in your prospects using a single statement directly from the Bible. Now, I'm going to give you that statement, but first imagine you're trying to sell somebody and you make the offer, I will make you $10 for every $1 that you give me. Now, as good of an offer as that is, as much sense as it makes, the truth is, no matter how good you are, some people will buy from you, some people won't, and those who don't, they simply just didn't believe you. They didn't believe you. There was no logical decision for them not to take it, but that's the key. It's not always about logic. It's most of the time about belief. So if you can handle this, you will close more sales. And so let's go to that first statement. And then I'm going to give you something very tactical to add to your conversations that will help you even further. So the statement is, people curse those who hoard their grain, but they bless the one who sells in time of need. This is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 26. I'm going to read it one more time and then let's talk about it. People curse those who hoard their grain, but they bless the one who sells in time of need. Here's what that means. And as corny as it sounds, it means belief begins with you. Yes, your prospects need to believe you, but you first need to believe in what you're offering. In modern English, people curse those who hoard their grain, but they bless the one who sells in time of need. What that means is if you know you have something that people need, if you know you have something that is good, you have an obligation to bring it to them. It's really not optional anymore. You need to bring it to that person. And as you do bring it to the people who actually need it, they're not just going to buy from you. They're also going to thank you for selling it to them. And that is the best thing that you could possibly receive. They believe in what you offer. You believe in what you offer. And so they buy and they thank you for selling it. That's the best thing that you could get. And here's how you know. So let's break down that first half. People curse those who hoard their grain. You know this is you. In modern English, that means nobody likes you if you're gatekeeping solutions. Like you have a good thing to offer, but you kept it a secret. Nobody likes that person. That's what that means. And you know this is you. And I've heard this before. It wasn't intentional. I'll explain why this happens even if you're not doing it on purpose. But you know this is you when you finally bring it to that one friend and they respond with something like, really, man, you had this the entire time and you're just now telling me, right? That is the person who gatekeeps. That's the person who hoards their grain. In biblical terms, who hoards their grain. You kept the bread from people who actually needed it. In modern language, you were gatekeeping solutions. You knew you had something good and you still didn't bring it to that person. It's an obligation. You're no longer option. It's not an option anymore. You got to bring it to people who need it. You know you're the second person, but they bless the one who sells in time of need. When you hear things like, man, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I've been praying for a solution like this. Thank you for bringing it to me. That's what you want to hear. It's not always going to happen, but this is how we increase it. You don't sell as much as you'd like because they don't believe you, but there's two main reasons for that. The first reason is that you don't understand what you're selling, or the second reason, or maybe both, the second reason is you don't believe you have something that people actually need. You don't believe people need what you have to offer, and as a result of the first one or the second one or a combination of both, as a result, you might still make money, but it's not sustainable because you feel dirty when you sell it. You feel like a sleazy salesman. It doesn't feel good, and so it's not sustainable. You never stick to it because you're not fulfilled with what you're offering people. You're that one guy in like all those movies where he's got the white shirt on, but he's got the slick back hair and like grease on his shirt, and he's offering people with 30% interest rates. That's what you feel like, and so it's not sustainable. And it might not be that bad. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but here's what happens. Even when you get the yes, even when somebody says it clear as day, I want to buy from you. How do I get this? You hesitate to close it. You start over explaining yourself and you justify it by thinking, I'm trying to help them. Let me explain more. But here, let me give you an example. They say something, again, as clear as day, as I want to buy from you. And when I was new, I got this before. I want to buy from you. But then you're like, well, hold on. You didn't ask about this. Do you want to know about that as well? Okay, wait, but I didn't explain this part yet. Should I talk about that too? And the entire time they're just sitting there like, man, can you just give it to me? I want it. But as you keep talking, as you keep over explaining, your concern, you're not over explaining for their sake. You're over explaining because you're concerned about what you're offering and what happens when you actually have to give it to them. Your concern becomes their concern. They take your belief and it becomes theirs. And the problem is that you never had any belief to begin with. And so this is where you get cold feet. Your clients get cold feet when in reality it's not cold feet. They already knew they weren't going to buy. They get cold feet and they leave the sales call or whatever it is. They leave the meeting and they send you a text later and they say something like, well, hey man, I thought about it, or hey, I don't think it's the right time anymore. I'll let you know when it is. Spoiler alert, they're never going to text you again because they borrowed your belief and they don't believe in the product anymore because you didn't believe in it. And again, I know this is probably not what you were looking for. You were probably looking for something more tactical, and I'm going to give that to you. But this is a foundation. If you don't have this, if you're incapable of transferring belief to somebody else, no matter how good it is of whatever service that you offer, they will still not buy. It won't happen. If you can't transfer your belief to them, nobody will buy from you. And unfortunately, I got one of those text messages, the cold feet text message, like 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give you one of my failures because if you talk to enough people, no matter how good you are, and I'm not sitting here to be like the perfect example of a salesman. I really don't think I'm a salesman anyways, but every business requires sales. So maybe I take that back. But no matter how good you are, you're never going to have 100% close rates. And if you do have 100% close rates, that means you're not talking to enough people. You're not getting through to enough people where the volume makes sense, where your close rates should lower. Of course, if I go to one person and I close a sale, of course my close rate is going to be 100%. That's not what you're looking for. I would rather have a 50% close rate of 10 people than a 100% close rate of one person. Okay, so you need to talk to more people and just understand that no matter how good you are, it should not be 100%, because some people, and I'm going to talk about this, some people truly just don't want a solution to their problems, or you just were not good enough you didn't transfer enough belief. And so again, it could be one or the other, it could be both at the same time, but let me give you an example. I got this text almost 2 weeks ago, and I'm bringing this one up because I could not have done a better job. I could not have done a better job. Every single thing that this guy said he was looking for, we provided him with the perfect wealth strategy. It checked literally every single one of his boxes, and it still didn't go through. And I could tell it wasn't going to go through because of his line of questioning, but I could not have done a better job. But his questions, he would ask me one question, then 5 minutes later ask the same question. And I knew at that point, okay, this is not gonna happen. If I don't change it quick, this is not gonna happen. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to change it. And again, this is not a problem with that person. Maybe it truly isn't the right time. People also need to be mentally ready for the solution you're offering. But at the same time, that's your job. You need to go into the position knowing that you might not make the sale, but you are still there to serve this person. That is the most genuine thing you can do, and that is the foundation of everything that you're going to do moving forward. And people will understand that, and again, they will not just buy from you, they will thank you for selling it to them. You will never have 100% close rates, but this is a foundation. Let me show you though how to increase your close rates even further. After you've laid this foundation of belief for you and for them, this is a second thing. And I read this from somebody else, and so I'm not going to take credit for all of this, but the rest of this is from the Bible anyway. So anyways, I read this from somebody else, and if you want to close more sales after you lay that foundation, if you want to increase your rates even further, you need to be clear with the negatives, but emphasize the positives. And it's all with that 3-letter word, but. Be clear with the negatives, but emphasize the positives. The perfect example, again, is that first statement. People curse those who hoard their grain, but they bless the one who sells in time of need. And so let me tell you what this means. There are two types of people in business, and we can categorize it in a million different ways. But in general, there's two types of people, and you are one of them. You are either somebody without a track record, or you are somebody with a track record. And I'm going to give you two examples of a sales pitch that did not work. People trying to sell me, of somebody without a track record, somebody with one, and then I'll show you different alternatives of how I think it would have worked better. Using this, the second statement, be clear with the negatives, but emphasize the positives. So here's what this means. So the first example, I'm on social media, so I get more messages than you could possibly imagine, and most of them are people trying to sell me social media services, and almost all of them have no track record of what they're trying to sell me for like $10,000. And that's not even the problem, that you don't have a track record and that you're trying to sell me. But let me just read one to you. The first person said, they said, "Hey Ryan, your content genuinely stands out. Great. It's personal, not really, but your content genuinely stands out. Your audience actually trusts you, which is rare. We help creators do XYZ. We just helped this guy," and then he sent me a screenshot, "go from 8,000 followers to 20,000 followers. But we only take on a few creators at a time. So before we move forward with you," and then he asked me some question that was irrelevant. So we're gonna talk about this, but let me read you the second one that also didn't work. And keep in mind, this is somebody else who I believe is making millions of dollars. They also sent me a message. I actually got on a call with this person, and it didn't go well, because this was his or her, this was a she. This was her opening line after she asked me some questions. She said, "All right, well, hey, before we get into more of what I have to show you, I'm going to show you who we are and what we've done for other people. But if you're actually a good fit for us, we'll take you on." Okay. Now, you might not see a problem with that at first, but there's two problems with this. And be clear with the negatives, emphasize the positives. We'll fix this for both of these people. So if you have a track record, if you don't have a track record, this is still for you. There are two problems with this. One, they both tried to take an authority position over me before I even knew what they had to offer. Okay, now this is why nobody likes a salesman. You are that one person who in the movies where like, I'm only going to work with you if you're good for me. Who wants to hear that? Not a single person wants to hear that, because another key for you, everybody wants to buy, but they don't want to feel like they're being sold. If you can understand this and be clear with the negatives, but emphasize the positives, you are going to close so many more sales. It's going to be like, you're not even going to believe it. But they're trying to take an authority position. One, they're trying to take an authority position when I don't even know what they offer. And so why would I want to continue listening? But two, for them, it was more about ego. And I guarantee you somebody trained them to do this. We train our guys completely different. I'm going to tell you how, but take the ego out of it. Be genuine about what they're doing. They were clear with a positive, but emphasized the negative. They did the exact opposite of what they were supposed to do, but there's some fake guru out there telling them what to do. So here's an example of what you can do, what you should do. So if you are brand new, let's say you're a personal trainer. Let's say you offer a service. If you're brand new, you're not going to go to the first person that you see and try to sell them a $10,000 course just because you bought a $10,000 course. That's not how it works. You have to earn that right, and that begins with belief. That foundation is still there, but you're either going to do it for free, or you're going to shadow somebody so that you can build up some kind of experience, some kind of knowledge, so that you know what you're doing. All you're going to do, let's say you're a personal trainer, is you're going to call your friends, you're going to call your family, or the fittest guy you know at the gym, somebody you know at the gym, and you're just going to tell them, "Hey, I'm building out this new program. I haven't trained it on anybody else except for myself, so I'm doing it. But I would just want to give it to you for free, and if you enjoy it, if you find it valuable, I just ask that you leave me a good review and some kind of referral." So I was clear with the negative, that 3-letter word, but then I emphasized the positives. Here's the biggest difference. Let's just flip it. Positive but negative. You're emphasizing the negative now. Let's see the difference. You're going to go to the same person, and the opposite is, hey, I'm building this program. I'm just going to ask you for a referral. It's free, but it's brand new. I've never used it on anybody else except for myself. It might still work. I mean, you still make some sales if you have enough belief, if you can still transfer some belief, but that's not the point. We want to do it even better. Be clear with the negative first, then emphasize the positive. Let me give you one more example, and then this is somebody with a track record, and you're going to have a lot of conversations, and you're probably going to come across people, even if you're good, even if they believe what you have to offer, you're still going to come across people who are going to say things, and this is not a bad thing to say or a bad thing to hear, but they're going to say something like, well, why should I go with you? Why shouldn't I just go with that person? Now, there's other things that we could have done to avoid that question to begin with, but it's going to come up regardless. So you need to know how to deal with it. Instead of trying to grovel for their service, or for their business, you're going to say something like, well, hey, I don't know if I can actually help you yet. I don't know if it makes sense yet. But if we can sit down for 20, 30 minutes, I can show you who we are, what we do. I can learn more about your situation. I'm sure both of us will have a really clear idea of whether or not it makes sense after that. That's much more compelling than saying, well, if we sit down for 20, 30 minutes, let me learn about your situation first. I'll show you who we are and what we do, but I don't know if we can actually help you. The first one, when you emphasize the positive, is much more compelling. Negative, be clear with the negatives, and then emphasize the positive. It's not just, it leaves them with a better impression, but it also comes off much more genuine that, one, you're willing to lose the sale, that it's not even about the sale, it's about the service. It's about actually being able to help this person. And so if you can lay a foundation and transfer belief, if you can emphasize the positives after you've made the negatives clear, you will close more sales, and you will sell more and better stuff, and everybody will feel good about it. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. If you didn't, also let me know, but I hope you did, and I hope you stay for the next video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.